Hello, thanks for listening to another one of my videos. I was reading. I don't often read newspapers, but I went for a walk into the local town yesterday and bought one on the way back home, and I was actually quite some decent articles in there. And one of them that caught my eye was about Facebook. One of the not Zuckerberg, the other fellow, the co-founder. He said he feared that he's created like a monster that exploits the psychological deficiencies of humans, basically. And of course that's true. um, so I just wanted to sort of talk about what my view is on the sort of dangers of not just on social media, but the insanity of the world and how it sucks you in. I mean, I've already touched upon. I've done a video about drama and how it affects people's lives, and of course you could talk about that forever. But I mean, if we just look at social media for the minute, the article was interesting because it said it's specific. The Facebook was specifically designed to grab your attention, and I'll put all my cards on the table. I do have Facebook. I was off it for a time, for about a year. But there's certain people, as crazy as this is, there's certain people that only communicate with me on Facebook, and I'd probably miss out on some social events if it wasn't for that as well. And there's certain people that I know that I'd lose contact with, so that's the reason I'm on there. But if you look at what it does, you just log into your page, you log into your Facebook page, and most people are on it, of the younger generation, or people that are, not of retirement age, would probably be on Facebook. You look on there, and it's specifically designed to, as well as the posts of people that you know, it has things that might interest you, because it knows from the searches you do on Google as well, what kind of things you're interested in. So on a lot of like spiritual teachers will come up as news feeds, and that's great because sometimes I'll be flicking through it, and like if you're feeling a certain way or you're feeling a bit down, something will pick you up because you get an inspirational quote from somebody like Eckhart Tolle or Rama Maharshi or someone like that. So that's great. It can be used, in positive aspects, but the negative aspects of that is it's embedded to keep you involved within Facebook. You'll always, like, I've noticed some people who are decent people, and they cannot not pick up the phone for a couple of minutes. It's an addiction, and the problem is with smartphones, and obviously Facebook is just one element of it. Is you've got unlimited information at your fingertips, and it's distracting you from It's distracting you from being in the present moment. You are never focused on the present moment. If you are sat, a perfect example is the local bar that I go to sporadically. I went there last night and really didn't enjoy it, and I might talk about that later. I was only in there for half an hour or so. But I went in a few weeks ago, and there were 3 people stood at the bar, all of which I knew. And I'm stood there, and the reason I go is to socialise and entertainment. I'm not interested in complaining about problems or listening to anybody else's problems. It's a social environment. It should be used for fun. And I went in there, and all the 3 people that I knew that were stood at the bar, I know them personally, and every one of them was on their phones. I didn't want to say anything, and I just thought I'll just do like a little experiment and stand there and wait and see how long it takes for somebody to say something. And I think I counted, it was like 68 seconds. I was stood there, and then eventually one of them went, "Oh, hiya, Andy, you all right?" And then the next person was still going on the phone, and the other one was carrying on for quite a while. And it was just interesting. I'm thinking, well, this is just a small example. You're in a bar. Why have you gone to that bar? One would assume for company or to talk to people. you're spending all all your consciousness is being sucked into your phone when you can do that sat on your sofa at home. And like I said, if we go back to Facebook, you're permanently connected to everybody, and it can be I think that can be really dangerous. It can cause depression. When I've been in low moods, and you look at, when I've gone through harsh times in my life, you look at people's lives and you think, God, everybody's doing great and I'm not, and it can really get you down. And that's something that you personally have to deal with. But it's because people like to portray an image of themselves on Facebook that they are having a great time. Look at me singing from the rooftops. Really? You've got to ask yourself this question, and I always do this whenever I have any kind of social media activity, or specifically Facebook. I'm not on Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat or whatever it's called. I just don't want to be involved in any more things that's going to draw my attention in. But yeah, if you're on, like I said, it's not. It can be positive having it. It's just how you use it. But yeah, if you look at Facebook as a whole and the impact that it has on the world, is it positive or negative? It's an interesting question, isn't it? But one thing I always do whenever I use Facebook or post anything, I always ask, why am I doing this? What is the reason for me to do it? So you've got to ask yourself a question. When you post anything on there, whether it be a photograph, whether it be a comment or an opinion, why are you doing it? What is the purpose? And if you look deep enough, most of the time it is for ego gratification. If you post a photograph on there, I'm guilty of it. I went to Barcelona a few weeks ago and I think I posted 2 pictures, maybe 3, of the trip. One was like a beautiful scenery, which I thought it's nice to share something beautiful. And it was a beautiful photograph. And to be fair, there was one photograph of myself with beautiful surroundings, and it was a little bit of me showing off a little bit and saying... But even when I did that, I kind of thought, well, what was the purpose of me doing that? Am I showing off? Yes, maybe. So therefore, it's my ego. I want to look great in the eyes of the world and to my Facebook followers, and they'll think, oh, Andrew's having a great time. So I went to Egypt a couple of years ago. I didn't post one photograph for the whole holiday just because the situation never arose. I was busy enjoying myself and enjoying the moment and having a nice experience. When I saw 2 girls in the pool with a selfie stick while I was reading a book, they were spending so much time with this selfie stick trying to take the nice photograph for themselves to no doubt put on the Facebook profile. Is that enjoying the holiday? No, it's not even living in the moment. You're living through your Facebook profile. So you've always got to ask yourself, what's the reason you do something? Even if you make a status update, and I'm aware that like 10 years ago when I was on Facebook, the nonsense that I used to post on there makes me cringe now when I think about it. It was purely attention seeking and ego gratification. It was to think that it was me, but I don't criticise myself over it because I didn't know any better, and over the last 10 years I've been through so much and had a sort of spiritual awakening, really. Not my ego is still there. It's not dead. So of course I'm not an enlightened master like Eckhart Tolle, but I have gone through somewhat of an awakening. So I always ask deep questions, and you have some might say, well, you're taking life too seriously. Maybe. I don't think that's the case. I'm trying to live wisely. There's a difference between living too seriously and wisely. that's something that's important as well. But yeah, if you use Facebook, which there's nothing inherently wrong with anything. It's how you use it and what it's used for. So whenever you post something on Facebook, you've got to ask yourself, what are you doing it for? Is it because you get a little bit of a buzz when someone likes your photograph? Do you like to look good in the eyes of other people? If you do, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You need to be aware of it, and you need to ask yourself, why do I need to look good in the eyes of other people? Why do I need to do that? Why do I need to maybe not necessarily put other people down, but why have I got to be bigger than other people? And if you look deep, really deep inside, you will realise that it comes from an inherent feeling inside of inadequacy most of the time, if not all, and fear of not being good enough and not being big enough. There are people that I know that aren't even on Facebook, that are on it, that never post anything, that go to all these places not interested in telling everybody else how great their lives are. So you've got to be really careful. You got to live with wisdom and ask yourself, what good? I like to ask myself this question whenever I do anything. And sometimes it gets the better of me because I spend most of my time wondering what's the best thing to do. But this is going to sound a bit corny, but I don't know how else to word it. Whenever I do anything, I always ask myself, what good is this going to do to my soul? To me as a person, whenever I do anything, whatever activity I do, it's like I think that's an important question to ask, because ultimately you end up wasting your time, and that's one thing I hate doing, is wasting time. This particular, what I'm doing right now, talking to you and you're listening, if anybody, just one person gets something out of this, then my time will have been well spent. So, this is an easy thing to do. I'm hoping to get more subscribers and more people. Of course. And the thing is as well, the thing about spiritual truth is, if you can pass on what you believe is right, or your teachings, if you will, it's not my teachings, it is, there's no such thing as my teachings, but if you can pass on the teachings to someone else, it also helps you to learn those teachings at an even deeper level. And you're also potentially helping other people. What could be better than that? Nothing. That's what we're here to do, to be a light unto the world. And that's what Jesus said. And please don't think I'm comparing myself to those people. But, it's the original teachings. So, yeah, it's a minefield in the world out there. I could do a video just on Facebook and talk about the ins and outs of it. I got rid of loads of friends on Facebook and deleted them, and it wasn't, I'm quite a private person. I don't like to have people that I don't know intruding in my life. That might be a failing of mine. I haven't quite figured out why that's such a prominent thing, but I don't like, for instance, I got in a taxi the other day and the guy was asking me what have you been up to today and where have you been. I'm like, I didn't get offended, but I was like, I didn't want to answer the question. I'm like, I don't know you. You've just picked me up and you're asking me what I've been doing today and where I've been. I'm like, it's none of your business. It might be a failing on my part. I don't know, but I wasn't rude and I avoided the question and threw it back at him and asked him the question. It might be something to do with the area I live, because it can be quite volatile at times, and I think maybe I'm suspicious of a lot of people, which, who knows, but, so yeah, I got rid of a load of people, and I was wondering, when I first started on Facebook, I just wanted to get as many friends as I could, and thinking about it now, it was such an immature and silly thing to think. And when I realised I was like friends with people at school that I didn't even get on with and didn't like very much, I was thinking, why am I friends with you? I don't wish you any harm, but I've got no interest in anything that's going on in your life, and I'm pretty sure you haven't in mind. So I deleted a load of people. And a lot of the people, some that I'm quite good friends with on Facebook, I've not unfriended them because I know it'll offend certain people, but I've unfollowed them, so I can't see what they're doing. If I go on my Facebook thing now and flick through, the only thing I see are adverts and very few people that I still follow, very few, because most of them just post total rubbish. Even people who I like, they share videos I've no interest in, they talk about and make comments. And people, Facebook, it's the perfect platform for people with too much to say who have to have an opinion about everything. People you say, oh, I hate such a politician, or that place is too expensive, or even more extreme views about politics and terrorism, things like that, religion. People love it because you will always get people that'll bite and they'll make a comment and say, yeah, I agree with you. And then it reinforces their point of view. And then it goes on and then it makes them feel better about themselves. And I'm thinking, what a load of nonsense. What is the purpose? Like, people have their opinions and you have yours. I try to have as few opinions, an opinion about anything as possible, because it's just a perspective, a view on anything. If I say I'm not a fan of the politicians in England, I believe most of them are self-serving and they've no interest in the greater good apart from lining their own pockets. But I don't know that to be 100% true. I don't know that every politician is like that. I don't know what their inner workings are like in their minds, and I don't know enough about politics to make an opinion, so I never talk about it. Even like when I was in the bar last night, and there was a guy in there who I find, this may be, I find him boring. He doesn't talk about, he's got to, he's one of them people, he has to talk about everything that is cliched in a pub. Politics and religion. I had to stop him and say, can I just stop you there? And I wasn't being rude. I said, I have no interest in talking about politics whatsoever. And he couldn't stop. And he said, yeah, I understand that, because a lot of people don't like politics, do they? I really understand it. Yeah, because if you think about it, and I said, can I just stop you again? Just by me saying I'm not interested in talking about it, you're still talking about it. And it's just, people are so caught up in their own mind patterns and the thought process, they cannot see reality for how it is. It's like comment sections on news articles on online on Facebook, or a newspaper will post an article through Facebook and people comment on it and go, I believe this is disgraceful, this is terrible, and people will jump in and everybody, and then an argument will start, and I'm like, it's ridiculous. If people knew and understood how futile the time that they're spending, what load of nonsense. If you're planning to do something about the situations that arise in the world, then fine, use it as an expression to get your politics out there. If you're going to become an activist or a politician, fine. If you're going to do something about it. If you're not, why are you wasting your time talking about it? That's the way I look at it. Especially in a social environment, in the pub. Everybody's got to have, in the bars, everybody's got to have their threepenny. And I got a bit down last night. I nipped out. I didn't really have a lot to do, so I nipped out to the bar that's round the corner. Had a couple of drinks, not too many, of course. And there's a guy that I've known for a number of years, and he goes watching my local sports team, and he comes up to me, and he's a very difficult guy to talk to because he's very opinionated, very self-centred. And he was going on, and apparently our new club had made a signing, and the owner had tweeted something and said, boom, I'm really happy. And he said, we've signed a great player, Andy. And I said, well, we don't know that, do we? Let's wait and see. I said, it could mean anything. And he kind of got offended that I wasn't interested. I said, Andy, I'm not making any opinions until I know the facts. And he kind of stormed off. Because people want you to buy into the illusions that they've created in the mind and all the nonsense that goes with it. And when you escape from the norm, you become isolated. So then another guy walked in the bar, the guy that wanted to talk about politics. And I find him very boring because whenever... I don't want to talk about politics in that kind of environment, if at all. I don't want to talk about religion. I don't want to talk about anything about that. I go out to have fun, to have a laugh. That's what it should be for. This is my opinion. If you're using that kind of environment for anything other than having fun and forgetting about your problems, having a laugh, humour, and not taking life too seriously, then you are missing the point. You're missing the point. There is a time and a place for everything. If you want to have a talk with your friends and get things off your chest, that's fine. And people use Facebook to do that, but take it too far, don't they? Like we've said. And maybe I've contradicted myself a little bit because I've said, well, what's the purpose of having an opinion and all that kind of stuff? But at the same time, you do need to get things off your chest, don't you? I prefer to do that to my close friends, not to random strangers on the internet, on Facebook, and generally speaking, it's not to just get things off your chest. Like, keeping things bottled up can be quite harmful, you know, especially if it's something that's affecting you in your life. If you can share it with someone, it can lighten the load. A problem shared is a problem halved, and it can be true. But yeah, I mean, the smartphones are a massive thing, aren't they? How often do you pick up your smartphone? What purpose? Why? You want to be taken out of the present moment, and you know it can be pretty. It can suck up your consciousness with news stories, with a notification from Facebook, a notification from YouTube. I always turn the sound off unless like I'm expecting an important phone call. I never have the sound on my mobile phone because I hate getting distracted with little pinging sounds and beep beep bing bing bing, and it's just not healthy to have yourself distracted all the time. And even television, I don't like watching TV much or even movies anymore. Very rare. Every now and again I will try to watch something good, but I'm very conscious about the time that I spend. I don't believe TV is a very efficient way of spending your time. Reading something is a lot more productive and good for your soul. Reading, whether it be a good work of literature or something, a true story that can be uplifting and that can educate you and learn, it's brilliant. But watching junk TV and some of the nonsense that's actually on there these days, that's a cracker for me. Gogglebox, it's called in England. It's a TV show where you're watching other people watch TV. To this, I don't think I'll ever fully understand the entertainment value of that until the day I die. I cannot. Watching TV is bad enough, but watching other people watch TV is baffling to me. I do not understand what you would get out of that. There is some TV that can enrich your lives. Now, this is some people may laugh at this example, but The Simpsons teaches you, or at least all of it, not to take life too seriously and look at people's foibles. And it can be enriching. And there are certain other TV shows that, I mean, probably the only reality TV show I watch in the UK is called The Apprentice. And obviously most people will be familiar with it. And what I do when I watch it, I always put myself in the position of the people that it's focusing on, and think I use it as an inner challenge, and I go, right, what would I do in that situation? Would I be able to cope with that? How would I get around it? Would my ego start to... That's what I do, and I find that entertaining but challenging at the same time. Because you can be sucked in by a TV program like that. For instance, when one of the candidates makes an error, they put music on that sounds a little goofy, like do 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 do, and it makes you think that that person's stupid. So then, if an unconscious person watching that show would then start to feel superior to that person and go, ha ha, look at what that person's done, what an idiot, because of the sound of the music and the fact that they've made a mistake. But I watch it and I think, well, hang on a minute, that person's obviously intelligent because they're in that situation, they've got their own business, they're making more money than I do, I'd probably have made the same mistake or even a worse one. So I always use it from that degree. Every so often, I will put a movie on to relax, something that I'm interested in, I'll enjoy it, and sometimes I think, what a waste of time. I love going to the cinema because it's quiet, and it can be uplifting with the right film. I watched a film called Lion, about a lad who got lost in, I believe it was Pakistan, and then he ended up finding his family through Google Maps. What a brilliant film. I can't recommend that film enough. I loved it. That's the kind of entertainment you want. It was a true story. It was really well directed. It was uplifting. It's like, that's proper entertainment. So I implore you to try to be conscious when you're picking what to watch and what to do. I love going out and socialising, but last night it got me down because the two people that were there that I was talking to, I found very dull, and it kind of made me think, what am I doing here? What am I actually doing here? Because I've no interest in small talk. I've just no interest in it at all. I mean, it might sound like, and I will avoid those people, and you might say, oh, it could be said that maybe I'm being selfish. Well, not at all. If some people are having a negative effect on my state of consciousness, I need to remove myself from that situation. And that can be done without being cruel to anybody else. It's not my responsibility to entertain someone else. If they're having the opposite effect on me, I will remove myself from that situation. That's not being rude at all. That's telling the truth. Everybody else is responsible for their own inner state. You can try and help people, and you also have to recognise when people are beyond help. And with him, the thing is, he's a nice guy. One of the chaps, the guy that I was talking to about politics and that, he's a nice chap. He doesn't mean anybody any harm. But I don't enjoy talking to him. And I knew from looking at him that I could sit down with him and give him a speech about consciousness and spirituality and try and get him to understand the ego, and it would be a totally lost cause. I would be wasting my time. I know that. So I wouldn't even try. So, guys, this video, I could rattle on about this all day. We're already nearly coming up to the 30-minute mark, so I'm going to stop there. So, it was just to try. I mean, I've not touched upon half the things I wanted to, really, because I've digressed a lot. But it was just to try and highlight how difficult it is to stay sane. And you've just got to try and take a deep breath every now and again and focus on the present moment and not get sucked into all the drama and the distractions that the world wants to throw at you. And try and ask yourself every question, every time you're doing anything, what is the purpose of me doing this? How is this going to enrich my life? I hope you've enjoyed it, guys, and let me know. Please let me know in any feedback, because these videos I've not been doing them for long, so I'd appreciate it, and I'll speak to you soon.